Shalom Israel. First of all, we give all praises, all honor and all glory to Yahweh by Shem Shai, by Shem, Rekakdash, the one of the apostles, and also the middle teaching us his truth. Peace and blessings to all black to Israel, and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Father in ancient Hebrew. By Shem means the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back with the lesson, and today we're going to go into how these different nations are preparing to go to war. As you have China, you have Russia, making nuclear advances, as you see with these new hypersonic missiles that they have. And World War III is prophesied in the Bible. Multiple scriptures going to how this place will be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, and how these different nations will be in array against Babylon. Which will be a few scriptures that go into that just to prove it. And these two quick articles and a few scriptures come to mind, and lo and behold, find lessons. Get to it. It says Russia announces successful test of hypersonic missile. So you see the nuclear advances that they are making with their technological advances in terms of these thermonuclear missiles. So the Russian warship has carried out a test fire of a state-of-the-art missile capable of flying many times faster than the speed of sound as part of exercises off the Arctic Ocean, Russian military bosses confirmed on Monday. So these missiles can travel many times faster than the speed of sound. So faster than a jet. So in a statement, Moscow Ministry of Defense said the Zircon missile was launched from the Admiral Gorshkov frigate from a position in the White Sea and successfully struck a naval target more than 400 kilometers away, according to the announcement. Surface ships and naval aircraft from the Northern Fleet helped to close off the region for the security of the launch. The test just comes 2 weeks after another demonstration of Zircon's capabilities, which officials said was also successful. The most recent test means the missile has completed its current round of trials. We'll just get this article that China was also testing out this ballistic missile. It says China's Sputnik moment missile test confounds U.S. So they were basically starstruck at their technological advances. In terms of these missiles. So the hypersonic weapon test, thought to have been conducted by China in July, reportedly showcased a physics-defying technological leap that Financial Times reported on Sunday. So you have these different nations preparing to go to war, preparing to fight. So I see them creating new missiles that travel way faster than the speed of sound. And multiple scripts going to how this place will be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, and how these different nations are preparing to go to war, which we'll get to the scripture after this. It says scientists at the Pentagon, DARPA research agency, are apparently still trying to figure out how China's hypersonic glide vehicle, a type of nuclear-capable, maneuverable spacecraft, was able to fire another missile mid-flight, according to a Financial Times report on Sunday. So you have these other nations beating their plowshares into pruning hooks, basically preparing to go to war. Now let's get this real quick. Let's get Joel 3 and 2 first, which it refreshes. It says, I will also gather all the nations and bring them down in the valley of Yehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So Yahweh is going to gather all these nations in the land of the east, for their destruction. Let's just get this right here. This book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9 through 12 says, proclaim ye, which refreshes. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, going to different nations, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. So you have these different nations preparing to go to war. The mighty men are waking up. So let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Verse 10 says, beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So you have these different nations gaining the confidence to stand in the midst of Babylon the Great, aka America, which was known basically, seen as the nation that was untouchable. But now you see Russia, China creating these hypersonic missiles that are way faster than the speed of sound, which just stumped these Edomites, man. So you have these different nations preparing to fight and preparing to go to war, as you see with these thermonuclear advances. Verse 11 says, "Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, because thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord." Verse 12, "Let the heathen be weakened, and come up to the valley of Shaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." So basically guiding them to their own destruction. Okay, the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, is verse 9. It says, "For lo, I'll raise and cause to come up against Babylon, aka America, an assembly of great nations." China, Russia, multiple nations, for example, man. All these different nations will be in an array against America. It says, "For nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be as of mighty expert men. None shall return in vain." Which those arrows are not literally going to a wooden, arrow with a a stone tip. It's going to thermonuclear missiles, which will get a little bit more. I think it's 29th verse. It says, "Call together the archers against Babylon," which archers is going to these different nations. "Call together the archers against Babylon," to shoot those missiles, man. It says, "All you that bend the bow, camp against it round about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done, do unto her, for she hath been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel." So, once again, just proving that's not literally talking about literal archers and, literal arrows going to these thermonuclear missiles, which, as you've seen in the articles, being, many times faster than the speed of sound, and be able to travel to one end of the earth to another. So you're seeing the technological advances that these different nations are making, and are preparing to fight. They're starting to wake up and preparing for war. I see they're beating their. Let's get the scripture one more time. It says, "Beating your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." So these nations that were weak in the eyes of Babylon are now gaining the confidence to, stand up and fight, man. Once again, as you've seen in the articles with these new missiles that they created. And let's go more into how it is literally not talking about arrows, but missiles. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 13 says, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrow that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss." Go back to the scripture. How's of a mighty expert man and shall not miss. It says, "From thence shall she be taken, their arrows shall be as of mighty expert men, and none shall return in vain." So every one of these missiles are going to hit their mark. So bend bow, his arrows that are sharp, that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So tell me, what arrow can reach from one end of the world to the other? None. Because it's not literally talking about a literal wooden arrow. It's going to these thermonuclear missiles. World War III is prophesied in the scriptures, man, and it's going to be by the way of thermonuclear missiles. Which, as you see right here, just go more into it. Which, let's probably get this first. Now I'll get to that. It says, book Isaiah chapter 9, verse 5, to, just to prove it even more. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood." For example, I use, the movie 300, how they're on the battlefield with shields, swords, running at each other and just, screaming, seeing blood flying everywhere. And watch this. It said, "But this shall be with the burning and fuel of fire." So this war is going to be completely different than any war that we have ever seen. But this shall be with burning and field of fire. These thermonuclear missiles. It's literally in the scriptures, man. But the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, verse 4, it says, all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll. Which, when it says that, it's going to the mushroom cloud that you see from the missiles exploding. For example, you see it in just, the tests that they do on the military bases. Those mushroom clouds. So all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth from the vine, as a falling fig from the tree. But pretty much got the scriptures. Just make a quick lesson going to how these nations are preparing to fight and preparing to go to war. As you see, the tension is building between these nations. As you see with these thermonuclear advances between these nations, with the hypersonic missiles that travels, many times faster than the speed of sound. So, just goes to show the tension as between these nations that Yahweh started building up for Armageddon, aka World War III. So we're going to see, ultimately where this leads up to, which is an article right here, but it says, here's why talks with Iran are no guarantee against war. Let's get this little thing right here. It says, another round of talks between Iran and world powers has begun in Vienna. While the aim is to revive the 2015 nuclear deal, the process seems to be dragging both sides closer to war than to a diplomatic settlement. As Gibbs says, there should be wars and rumors of wars. So once again, this goes to show that we're nearing the end of this devil's kingdom, and that this place is through. So, pretty much hit the point. Don't want to drag this lesson too long. But you see, once again, nations are preparing to fight and preparing to go to war. And once again, hey, this is just all a part of prophecy, man. So we're nearing the end. And it's pretty much a lesson. Lord wants edifying. I'll close out when I give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh Shem Hashai, Bashem Kadash. Double honor to the apostles, and also good millstone teaching us this truth. Peace and blessings to afflict Israel. And shalom. See you next one.